Hello, this is Lisa Russick. And who are you?
I am Misty Lore. Who are you?
Misty Lore. I am Lisa Russick, and this is the podcast We're All Psychic. Today
Oh,
we have a really cool guest. Her name is Pam. Pam, would you like to say hello?
Sure. My name's Pam Flowerday, and I'm a professional intuitive and also author of the book Ask Yourself, Understand, and Unlock Your Psychic Power for Personal and Planetary Healing. Thank you
We
so
love
much for
that
having
title.
me on.
That's a great title. That sounds
Howdy.
like right up for our right below
Yeah.
our podcast. It really
Yes.
does.
Yeah,
Fit right
yeah.
in.
And Misty has a question for you right off the bat.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
You do.
Are
I
you
do.
ready? Okay.
Yeah,
Do you think that we're all psychic?
I absolutely do. And that's what really inspired writing my book. I went through 4 years of clairvoyant training, and what I found out is everybody in there already is psychic. It's just sort of dusting it back off because we live really in a society here in our country that doesn't like accept it or validate it. It's like this persistent skepticism out there. So when we're kids, we're not really encouraged to, talk about our psychic experiences. So we kind of hit that disable button, like in your settings on your phone,
Yes.
and in your social media, it's like disable, disable, disable. And it's not that they're not there, they're just disabled. And you can go right back in there and turn them back on and dust them off and exercise them. So
Yes.
that's why I wrote the book to
So
kind of talk
that
about
is just great. And that's why we do the podcast to help people with that kind of same thing.
Yeah.
So, were you raised around this kind of experiences of energy work or anything like this? Were you born like with people who taught you this stuff from a young age, or did you learn it on your own?
Not really. When I had most of my psychic experiences, it was when I was relaxed or playing, and we're kind of in a spontaneous flow, being our natural selves and experiencing everything around us and really, connecting with everything that's happening. And I would have some psychic experiences. And then if I talk to grown-ups about them, they're like, what? So it's like it didn't quite add up, but
Where were you raised? Like what area of the
I was
country?
raised in Southern California, so
Okay,
in
okay.
between
That's pretty
like Los
liberal.
Angeles. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, Frenchy Granola, California. And my mom is actually very open to metaphysical stuff. She was a big
That's
reader
cool.
of Seth and all kinds of metaphysical stuff, loved Edgar Casey. But, I don't think I talked a lot about it when I was a little kid, but she certainly didn't discourage me, if I did bring up things. So I was pretty lucky that way.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. My mom grew up with Casey too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Pam, like, what did you have like kind of a calling to help people understand the side of themselves, or did you just think about it real hard and want to do it, or did you just because a lot of people who are in this work, I love to ask people this sometimes, like the calling question, the do you feel compelled to do this work? I just felt like asking you that. Did you feel like compelled to write this book, or did you just want to?
Yeah, well, I started out being fascinated with energy work and Reiki. So in 1998, I got attuned to Reiki, Asui Reiki, and went straight through to the master's level. And I got really frustrated with doing Reiki because I could kind of sense energy, but it's like, so what's a block? What is that exactly?
Yeah.
How do you help a person release that? And like, how do you help them not to have that block reestablish itself? So I really wanted to learn more about the human energy system and how it works. So I went in 2001 and went to a clairvoyant training program in Marin, California, and fell in love with that whole style of learning about your energy, your chakras, how to ground your energy, how to clear it, how to turn certain chakras down and move up to the higher chakras and stabilize yourself in the psychic center. So I fell in love with it. So I put myself through a whole other program because I decided I wanted to do it professionally. So I wanted to make sure. So I went through about another 3 years of training and apprenticing. And then I, started to do it professionally and incorporated it with Reiki And so a lot of times I would do a reading, and then we would get the person on the table and do Reiki and healing.
That
And I just had
sounds
a
like
much better.
I've had ideas
Yeah.
like that before and plans like that. They
Yeah,
never
yeah.
worked out, but that's a great idea. I bet that worked great. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just it was this sort of organic evolution. And then after I'd done it for about 6 years, it's like everyone I talk to doesn't think they're psychic. They ask, like, where did you get your psychic gift? When did you know you were psychic? And it's like, you're psychic too,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
I decided I wanted to write a book and just teach people about the same energy awareness exercises and how to re-enable those buttons where they got turned off when you're a little kid, and start exercising, your
So you just
natural.
really wanted to write this
Yeah.
book more than
Yes.
I feel called to Israel. That's kind of how I work too, like in this field. When it asks me to come back and work in it, I'm back. But sometimes
Yeah.
it says, no, you go do your thing for a while. You need more,
Yeah.
you need more education, more
Yeah.
maturity. Go do that
Yeah.
for a while, and then I come
Yeah.
back to it. And I've been back into it since 2018, like, reading professionally, doing the podcast, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff.
That's
And
wonderful. I listened to some of your podcasts, and they're just really cool. The
thank
people
you.
you guys get, and I just
Ooh,
love
we
it.
love our guests, and you're one of them. Cool. You're awesome. So, were you raised in any kind of religious background other than your mom accepting the metaphysical things? Like, was there a religion in your
Not really. My dad was Christian Science, but not really. He was raised in
I
Christian
know
Science.
Christian Sciences, yeah.
Yeah, but he never really talked about it or practiced it or anything. And my mom was like, let's just go to the church where we like what they're saying. So we moved around a lot. Sometimes we would not go to church, if we couldn't find one where it wasn't, preaching hellfire and like all these frightening things. So we like the gentle churches. So it wasn't any particular church. It was just who we resonated with, and where it felt true.
That's cool. So you were really following your intuition and spirit, just as far as finding other spiritualist people to be around, and your values, finding them with community.
Yeah.
And some of them were definitely not fitting for you. It's really cool that your mom could tell the difference for everybody, who wanted to go with her, I guess.
Yeah. She was really
She
great.
sounds awesome.
Great person. Yeah. So, I wrote the book. I started it 15 years ago, and finally just got it out there last year. And it kind of moved from just like a straight ahead psychic guide. These are the exercises to, really looking at why in our culture we're so freaking shut down. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me, And so part of my book, I look at other cultures, that not only accept psychic abilities, but they rely on them, and how they view that, how they integrate that into their culture. And so I spent a whole chapter and did a lot of research on that. And then looking at, well, what are the barriers here? Like, what are the institutional barriers here in our country that sort of cause us to have this persistent skepticism? So I spent a whole chapter looking at that. So I'm kind of glad it took me 15 years, to write the book, because I wouldn't have included that. But after practicing professionally in this field and like go to work, and it's, a good day's work. And then if someone asks me what I do professionally and I tell them, the look on their faces like I'm freaking crazy, and it's like, it was such a disconnect because it was so commonplace. Yeah.
I get excited when I hear somebody say that,
Yeah, me too.
I hate that.
We got stuff to talk about.
Yes.
Do you find it hard, but like, especially moving around? You said more do you still move around a lot as an adult? I mean, did you keep that nomadic kind of thing going for you, or did you stay somewhere when you were older?
Well, do you mean in terms of churches or in terms
like places where you live?
Places that I lived, yeah. Well, I went to college in UC Santa Cruz, so in Northern California, and stayed in Northern California for a long time. Cool. And just in 2019, my husband and I moved to Spokane because he's just retiring, and we wanted something a little slower and calmer. And more green.
Yes.
So we're up here now. Yeah. And I just
Great.
love it. There's a great community here, and I connected in with a lot of the intuitives, the healers, and a healing arts collective.
Wonderful. Now,
Yeah.
the listeners, just as a little aside before I ask Misty if she has questions, Pam said she was very nervous, and she is doing fantastic. You do not
Oh.
be nervous. You are doing just fantastic.
Thank you.
I've said I've thought more than you've even thought of saying and you haven't said an yet, I don't think. But I'm like the queen of the think of word. You were doing a really great job. So if you were nervous, it may not be anymore. I don't know. Misty, you must have some questions for Pam.
Oh yeah. So first of all, okay, so let's say that we want to open up more into our psychic intuition, and obviously there's steps to do this, but the thing that pops out the most that you said was you need to be more relaxed and kind of calm.
Yes.
And I find that to be so true. Yes. Because when I'm relaxed, and it's not often because I'm a very tense person. Yeah. But when I'm relaxed, boy, it's just like, dang, you can just pop right out, So that's probably going to be your first thing, is to get people relaxed, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So what step process do you suggest for somebody just starting out?
Yeah. Well, the very first thing I suggest for a person to do is to sit down, get themselves like a pretty journal, and start journaling their psychic history, because the first thing is they need to believe that they can be psychic, or that they are psychic, and a lot of times people forget their psychic experiences, but then when they write down, no, I did have that one experience, then they write it down, then something else will bubble to the surface, and before you know it, they've got a list of 10 things, and that just helps to remind them that no, this is true. I didn't believe it, I didn't own my psychic identity, but it's true, so that's the first thing I suggest for people, and to kind of write their intention, like what psychic ability do I want to develop? So I learned to read auras and how to find a place or a pattern or a thought form in a person's aura where they're stuck, and helping them to move that energy. So I do a very specific form of clairvoyance, but there's so many different forms of,
every
psychic
single
abilities.
person has a unique way of working with energy, just like you do talking and thinking and everything.
Yes.
Unique to them. It seems,
absolutely. Yeah. And so, I just think once they kind of look at, well, these are the sort of the things that I naturally can do, then setting a clear intention. It's like, I want to develop this more, and I believe that I can, that I already do, but I just need to exercise it, so setting a clear intention that's very specific, like
I like that.
Some people want to be remote viewers. Some people want to be precognitive. Some people, want to be clairvoyant, and so it's just being really clear, like, okay, this is what we're focusing on, and I really believe I can do that. So those are sort of getting in the right, frame of mind about it, and really believing and getting motivated. And then, the system I learned is energy awareness. So it's breathing, it's bringing your energy into your body and grounding it to the center of the planet and releasing energy, clearing out your chakras. And then we learn to close down the lower chakras and take the elevator up to the center of your head. And a lot of people think, their psychic center is at their forehead, and it's actually back, as far back
as
your
I've heard the third eye kind of covers all this, and it comes
yes
all the way through, and I can feel it. It activated for me, and I felt the whole thing buzzing. It felt amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and then sort of stabilizing your energy there. And the reason my book is called Ask Yourself is I have to tell a story. When I was in my first clairvoyant training program, I remember sitting in front of a readee and just waiting passively for information to come in. And my teacher came up behind me. He goes, ask yourself a question. It's what stimulates the information to come forward. So it's like, okay, I see this brown energy in front of his third chakra. So I ask myself, is that his energy or someone else's? And then boom, the answer's right there.
Yes.
Is that fear, or what is that energy? What is the emotion? And I would get it. So like asking yourself and being proactive about what information you're trying to draw in.
Yeah.
Really
And don't be
helps.
afraid of being wrong. I mean,
Exactly.
if you're wrong, that's part of learning.
Yeah.
Yes.
You learn what feelings aren't the right answer feelings, and which ones are the right
Exactly.
answer feelings
Yeah.
that come to
Yeah.
you personally, because
Mhm.
everybody's different ones. Some of us can, like I use the trivia question feeling, like if you're watching Jeopardy and you know the question or answer or whatever,
Yeah.
what the question is before they revel it, in Jeopardy,
Yeah.
and you're like, I know it, and you get that feeling.
Yeah.
Say it or whatever. It's that feeling like when you have it right.
Yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
especially with mediumship.
Yeah.
But I don't know if everyone will relate to that. But that's like one that I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of people can, because everybody's played
Mhm.
trivia just about, and I'm terrible at it. So if I have one,
Yeah.
I know it. I'm like, oh, it's
No,
exciting.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
self-validation and working with guides. I don't know if you work with
Mhm.
guides and teach people that.
I do, but personally, and actually, in readings, I meditate a half an hour before every reading, because it is like sacred space. It is, meeting a person on the spirit to spirit level and really having a sacred communication with them, because they're bearing their soul, like what their problems are and where they're stuck and where their pain is. And so I get myself in that zone and just really clear my energy. So it really helps to spend that time, because a lot of times we doubt ourselves because we haven't cleared our energy and moved up to our neutral space up in the clairvoyant center, and the other chakras are like, what, and they may undermine you or cause you to self-doubt. But if you close them down and just really go into your psychic center and focus yourself there, it's much easier, and easier to be clear, that you're having a communication with the higher powers, and with that person. And so it makes it easier to feel confident then. It's not about ego.
Really good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good example. That's a really good way for people to find validation as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Missy, you've got more questions. You have any more?
Okay, so after, I'm relaxed, I'm calm, I'm writing things down, and now I'm starting to validating stuff. What if I want to practice, let's say, I want to practice with somebody? Would that be something that you would suggest doing? And how do you do that? What do I do now?
Yeah, you could, but it's really important that they know it's a practice space, because some people are super programmable. So you might tell them, oh, I see this. And they're like, oh my gosh, and they take it to heart and they believe it, and then they create it because of their belief. So it has to be a very playful space if you're going to practice with someone and say, look, I'm just trying this out, so that they, are able to, approach it that way rather than
pick people who wouldn't,
right, exactly,
be psyched out, because some people really are psyched out if someone is a psychic, even if they know them, and all of a sudden they're like, I'm psychic, and they're scared that they know everything about them,
and or you're seeing all their lies,
like there's
all their
I don't see anything, all the things they're insecure about and they think they did bad and give guilt. They think the psychic might know it all, and if they do say something's coming, it's gonna come no matter what.
I try to.
You don't know what this is. It's all like what's most likely to happen.
I try to do it without any negative. At all. When I first started, I remember, it doesn't matter if the card said something negative or not. I would try to turn it into something positive. Regardless. And then I got better at it, then I could.
You're like, you dodged a bullet by that guy leaving you. Looking at the rest of these cards. Oh my god.
Something to that aspect.
Yes.
How do you find what? Another question I have is, how do you find what works for you? Like, there's so many different kind of, things. We've got cards, we've got oracles, we've got, you could do dice, we could do, I can go on and on and on. How do we find which one works for us?
Just playing with different things,
What's interesting to you is what I always
yeah,
thought. Yeah.
I have a pendulum, I have runes, I have tarot. And what's so funny is I can sit down and do an hour and a half reading for someone and be fine. But when I look at a card, I draw a complete blank, and it's so funny, and so I use cards, but I only use them for myself because I don't feel like I've got, I'm just not good at it, so I think playing with different things you're drawn to. And also asking yourself, or before you go to sleep, show me, ask your dreaming self to show you what is the best match for you and your skills, and see if you have a dream that shows you that.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah.
They'll get frustrated if they can't master one thing or it's just not there, and then they give up.
A lot of people want to know, what am I good at? And they're already doing the thing they're good at in some capacity.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah.
And you just have to point it out to them. They're like, that's not special. Usually until you point out why the other people aren't doing it. Have you noticed that this person doesn't do that? Does your husband do that? Does your kid, your kids do that? Well, one of them does.
Well, I've noticed with the cards, like you said, I'm not great with the cards. I'm still learning, and I'm better at them. But, for me, it's just getting relaxed and it will just come to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like, are you more of a no tools kind of reader, Pam? Like Misty she'll look at a card and like a card picture.
Yeah.
And a couple words on it, and she'll just pull out like lots and lots and lots out of that.
Yeah. It'll stimulate all that information. Yeah, it's direct clairvoyance. So I sit there and I ask the person to say their name out loud 3 times. And that's like their energetic signature.
I've heard other people say that 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I put my whole that's why I put my whole name as my author, because that's my energetic signature, and I wanted it on my book. But you have them say their name 3 times, and you're looking clairvoyantly at their crown chakra and what color it's vibrating at. Because it's not always like indigo or whatever, that particular chakra is. It's depending on what they're experiencing or what kind of mood they're in or what's happening in their life, it could be a different color altogether. So if it's say orange, then I tune my crown chakra to that exact same vibration until I feel like a click.
Interesting.
So Legos clicking in, and then I'm on their wavelength, and they can start asking questions, and I can see like constellations of energy light up in their energy field. That's what they're talking about. That's what they're upset about. Light up. And so I'll go in and I'll look at the pictures that those energy or that light is, because the aura stores information in images. So it'll be, how you hear of a thought form. It's like a block, and it keeps getting, every time it gets worse, there's like more and more pictures. So I'll see that stack, and I'll actually kind of dig down to the very bottom picture that set that in motion. And it's usually something from childhood or even a past life, something that was not resolved. And so there's like a false belief there that generates fear and a lot of emotional charge. So I'll talk to them about that and have them kind of connect with that information. And usually from present time, they'll say, well, that's not me anymore. That was before, and poof, it's called blowing the picture. It all just leaves the person's space because they've shifted that belief and they no longer have that block. And so that's how I do it. It's it's direct clairvoyance and reading their energy and their vibration and the pictures in their energy field. Yeah.
Wow. I have not heard of that.
I've never heard of anyone doing that's really cool. But I know you said you like to prepare, but would you like to give a demonstration of an aura reading on either of us or both of us? I don't know if you wanted to.
No, because I have to get into my clairvoyance.
You said that you like to spend the 30 minutes.
So it's not like I can do it immediately. I have to spend at least 15 minutes shifting my energy and closing the chakras and all that. So I can't really do on-spot readings, but it's, in the Bay Area, there's several clairvoyant schools. The Berkeley Psychic Institute was the first one. And there's several spin-off schools. So you can learn these, they all do remote. So I'm
starting to learn auras. I'm slowly learning them. Like around you, I can see a lot of white, purple. white and purple.
Yellow. She's
I
got
see
a
a
lot of
lot of white
yellow.
and purple. Yeah, but she was teaching maybe because they like when you were actually teaching us, maybe I didn't
Yes.
see yellow. I see purple
Yes.
and white and a little bit of it, like an indigo blue color.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great. I don't know what
You
it means though,
right up.
because I'm
I just see
learning.
a lot of yellow.
I
Lots of
see some
yellow.
magenta a little bit here and there, a little spark.
Mhm.
Healing, hardcore healing. Hardcore heart healing on other people, you know.
Yeah. So I wish I could. I just it would take me a while to get shifted
I don't know what
gears.
I'm seeing and what it means most of the time, and I'm learning it slowly. So I've
Mhm.
never seen them until more recently in the last year
Mhm. Mhm.
by being around people who can do it. I kind of can
Yeah.
like some people like you, as you speak of it, I can understand like what you're
Mhm.
talking. Some people are like this, right, Misty? We have
Mhm.
Yeah.
guests when they talk about what they do and how they do it, they have a way of teaching how to do it. And
Yeah.
that's probably why you wrote your book. You can probably do that. And I
Mhm.
can tell you can do this with your voice on this podcast. You know,
Mhm.
you gave us all both and everybody listening this idea of how to that I have never heard of, and they've never heard that on our podcast the way you do
Mhm.
it. And that's something to
Mhm.
start with, connecting to the
Yeah.
crown and really
Yeah.
vibrate with a resonance
Really
together.
good idea.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
brilliant. I love. Did you come up with that yourself? Just kind of develop it?
No, that's how the schools, Louis Bostwick, in 73 started the
I saw
Berkeley
you that.
Psychic Institute. And he came
Wow.
up with this whole system of energy awareness and reading people.
That's cool.
Wow.
And that all the other schools, the teachers would graduate and then set up their own schools. So there's a bunch of
Yeah.
them in the San Francisco Bay Area. But yeah, you were saying, asking how you could do it and like learning, and try asking yourself, like when you're working on something, it's like, oh, what's this, and listen for that answer, or you might just know it, like claircognizance,
That's how
just
I work
knowing it.
usually. Yeah. No.
Yeah. And so try that. It's not always reading a book or hearing someone else. Your soul has access to so much information, and so when you connect with your higher self and your soul self, there's just like so much wisdom and information. So try asking yourself and see what comes through.
Love that.
Wonderful.
Very good
That's
advice.
just great.
Yes.
And each one of us, we talked about this at the beginning of the podcast. Each one of us uses our energy differently and works differently and with it,
Mhm.
and wraps back around to what you're saying here at the end. Ask
Yes.
yourself
Yes.
what you do already. Ask yourself what you think you do already,
Mhm.
what you want to do. I love all that advice. It's just great. Right now, first of all, where can listeners find you? Do you have a website or
Yes, pamflowerday.com. And they can also get a free PDF of 5 of the exercises in the book. If they just go to the website and click on free PDF, send me a free PDF, and I'll send them 5 exercises. And that's a good way to get started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And listeners, I'll put all this information in the description of the podcast where you can get this stuff for her. And if you think of anything else you'd like to add in the description, we'll put that in there too, Pam.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
You're welcome. This has been a really interesting podcast, and we haven't had a podcast guest, any podcast. We've recorded a couple, but they didn't work out audio wise.
Mhm.
It's been
Oh,
13 days. We've been
oh my
starving for a
gosh.
podcast.
A dry spell.
Dry spell. And
Yeah.
so we're really happy to have you. And at this point, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice website and app where you can get advice from psychics and empaths, so you can get the clarity and guidance you need to create the life you
You
deserve.
deserve.
You deserve it.
You deserve
But it
it.
deserves it.
Sweet. Yeah.
And lastly, Pam, advice for the listeners. Let's say you're talking to a younger you, who maybe is taking classes and they are wondering if they can trust their teachers and how, because there's some unethical teachers out there. You just mentioned there's a ton of them in Berkeley, a bunch of teachers. Some of them are probably not ethical. So when they're looking for teachers, suppose like to help them, what would you recommend they look for or not look for, or make sure it's not there?
Yeah.
Dangerous things.
Well, yeah, that teacher has to be completely transparent and not avoid questions or say, you'll learn that in the future. It's like, no, they should be honest, straight shooters, answer your questions completely, and really tuning into your heart. And do you feel safe with that person? Are they trustworthy? Are they clear? Are they knowledgeable? Do you feel confident with them, and that they have the information that can be helpful for you, on your psychic path? So it's really maybe writing out questions and, asking them for a little consult and interview them, because it's a
That's
big deal.
great. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Interview them, because I feel like a lot of people stepping into asking for a mentorship of any kind, it's scary. It's hard to approach. Ask someone if you want them to be your mentor, especially as someone you've worked with, or in any capacity, or maybe all videos like you today. Maybe someone's gonna. I'm sure lots of people would love to work with you after, if they listen to this, they would find your wisdom just wow, because you have a really good way of explaining things to where it's just so easy to understand.
She's a very good
A
teacher.
really great gift for this stuff, especially. And so that's great advice. And so I guess we'll wrap it up. And thank you so much. And we'd like to welcome you back anytime. You're a great speaker. Don't be nervous. I'm nervous every time.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Lisa and Misty. It's just been really fun. And I hope you guys have a great autumn. It's officially autumn.
It's the equinox right now. We got like
yes, it is.
Equinox. We got like a half moon last night. It was nice.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah. Go out there and see that half moon, to people out there if you can. And we love you, Misty. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you
And love you,
all.
listeners. We love you. Love you. Kisses, kisses. And we will see you in a couple days. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.